Hello and welcome. In this video, we shall cover Class 11's Literature, 3rd chapter, Discovering Tut, the saga continues. As the name suggests, Discovering Tut, one of the most famous mummies ever found in Egypt, that was of Tut, Tutankhamun. And this chapter deals in detail about the various research that had gone in finding the details of his life as well as his death. The death with the most mysterious deaths of ruler ever in Egypt, with murder being the most extreme possibility. Since the discovery of his tomb in 1922, there had been research on him, there had been speculation on his life as well as on his death. But it has been almost a century now that his discovery of his tomb and further research and studies that had gone in findings. The chapter talks about the process of CT scan that his body has gone under and the findings thereafter. CT scan provides an accurate forensic reconstruction of the body of this boyish pharaoh. Before we move any further, it's imperative that we discuss about mummies. It is an age-old tradition of Egypt of preserving the dead bodies. The science, the mechanism is hidden to the Egyptians only. With the discoveries of one after another bodies in the form of mummies in Egypt, spread the word all over the world. The bodies are as old as this. If we talk about this body, the chapter that we are going to read of Tut, the body is nearly 3,300 years old. So, and body is an absolutely pure form. It is absolutely safe. That was the science. So we'll see what happens, how he has been examined, what changes have taken place since his discovery of the body in the year 1922 and now, how the science has evolved over the years. All these things we shall cover in this chapter. As we have discussed that science has evolved over the years. So to find out new details, to find out exact details about his murder, that we talk about his murder being the most extreme possibility, his death if there is any other reason to it, then this CT scan was planned by the archaeological department of Egypt. The body of the mummy of this king, the boy's pharaoh, they are popularly known as pharaoh in Egypt, the kings. His body was brought out from his tomb that was discovered in year 1922. The place from where his body has been taken out known as the Valley of the Kings. It was 5th January 2005, exactly at 6 p.m. The CT scanner was brought in to find out the details of a body which was as old as 3,000 years, as old as 3,000 years ago. All afternoon, the usual line of tourists from around the world kept coming in. These pyramids, these mummies are very, very popular places in the tourism, as we all know. So tourists, they kept coming in. They kept gazing, they kept reading the inscriptions there, talking about them, talking about the mummies, talking about the body. The mummy is in very bad condition because of what Carter did in 1920s. Zahi Hawass, the Secretary General of Egypt, he informed that the body has been in poor shape. Why? Because when this body was discovered back in the year 1922, the kind of treatment that has been given to this body to find out the details was very cruel, was very brutal. Why? Because the people, those who were doing research work, they were compelled to cut the body into pieces and to take out from the coffin, because the customary resin, the kind of a polish that is used to polish the wooden surface, had become little liquid and it has made the body to stick in the coffin, and to bring it out from there was eventually impossible. So we'll see exactly what happened there. It was Howard Carter, the British archaeologist, who in the year 1922 discovered his tomb. After years of after years of research, he finally found the place where the tomb was there, and he started his research on it. At that time, that is in the year 1922, the most startling thing about this mummy was the kind of brilliance that was associated with it. The gold. The entire body, the coffins were decked with the jewels, the gold, and even the day to day life things. Because it was believed, it is still maybe believed in Egypt that there is always afterlife. And for that, the board games, the bronze razor, the linen undergarments, the cases of food and wine, everything was kept in the coffin as he was the king. And after months of carefully recording Pharaoh's funerary treasure, Carter began investigating his three nested coffins. This was most interesting. The coffin had three different layers. When he opened the first layer, he found a shroud adorned with garlands, with leaves, with lotus petal, with cornflowers, which suggests that burial may have taken place in the month of March or April. The kind of flowers, the kind of leaves that are used, which suggest that burial of this boyish pharaoh may have taken place in the month of March or April. And then he reached the final coffin, the final layer, and where the trouble actually began. Because the ritual resins that is used there had actually solidified the body, and no amount of legitimate force could move it. Means the body couldn't be taken out from the coffin. Now what to be done? What is to be done there? Then at this place in Egypt, the sun can beat really down hard. So Howard Carter thought, let me put this body in sun and let's see if this solidified material can turn into liquid and this body can be taken out. But then there was further troubles to this. If he kept the body outside for too long, it may attract attention of some thieves, because Howard Carter tried everything. He kept the body outside to bring it to nearly 149 degrees Fahrenheit temperature, but nothing could move the body. Finally, he had to chisel away the body. He had to cut body into pieces to raise it from the coffin. And to his defense, Carter mentions that if he hadn't cut the mummy free, thieves most certainly would have circumvented the guards and ripped it apart to remove the gold in Tut's time. If he had not cut the body into pieces and he kept the body outside like this, the thieves may have attacked, because as we have already seen, the body was bedecked with gold, with jewelry, with costly things, because in those days the kings were really rich. In Egypt, the kings were really rich. At that time, the royals were fabulously wealthy, and they thought or hoped they could take their riches with them for this journey to the great beyond. King Tut was lavished with glittering goods, precious collars, inlaid necklace, bracelets, rings, amulets, ceremonial apron, sandals, and whatnot. Means everything is of gold, and most importantly, the inner coffin and his face mask was of entire pure gold that was used. So in his defense, Carter says, that's why I need to cut it into pieces so that I can continue with my work. But once they had finished, they reassembled the remains on a layer of sand in wooden box with padding that concealed the damage and bed where Tut now rests, and they again reassembled the body and kept it back in the place where he was resting now. Over the years, the archaeology has changed a lot. Earlier, the entire concentration of archaeology was on the treasure, the riches, but later on it went to the historical aspect, the life, the death, the secrets associated, and so on. So, after that, in 1968, more than 40 years after Carter's discovery, An anatomy professor x-rayed the mummy and revealed startling fact. Then one more research in the year 1968 that took place through x-ray. In this discovery, in this x-ray, some startling facts were revealed. The startling facts were the his chest and ribcage bones are missing, which was a big discovery. The chest bone and ribcage bones were totally missing. Today, diagnosis imaging can be done with computed tomography, that is CT. And what does a CT scan does? What does a CT scan do? It presents a virtual image of the body and thousands of x-rays running all together and bringing the image. It makes, you can enlarge the image, you can move the image. That what a CT scan can do, and which will further reveal many secrets. That was the target of this CT scan. King Tut's demise was a big event, even by royal standards. Why? Because he was the last of the family line of the most powerful dynasty of Egypt. Amenhotep III, the king before Tut, Amenhotep III, it is not clear whether he was his father or grandfather. He was a powerful pharaoh who ruled for almost 40 years. Amenhotep III, he ruled for 40 years, and he may have been his father or grandfather, which is not clear in history. At the height of the 18th dynasty's golden age, his son Amenhotep IV. After Amenhotep III, Amenhotep IV descended the crown, and he started the strangest period in the history of Egypt. His period has termed to be the period with the most turmoils. Why? We will see that. As we have discussed that Amenhotep IV with his reign began the most troublesome time of Egypt history. Why? Because he as a pharaoh, he as a king, he started changing everything. He started worshipping, he started promoting the worship of Aten, the sun disk, and he changed his name to Akhenaten, or the servant of Aten. He even destroyed the image of Amun, the major god. He shifted the religious capital to Amarna, and he did all these things and wanted to change the entire outlook of Egypt, which was very very troublesome time. After Akhenaten, a mysterious ruler named Smikenkhare appeared briefly and exited with hardly a trace. And Akhenaten III, this Amenhotep III, Amenhotep IV, and then for very brief period, one more ruler came, Sminkare, who, as he came, he left. Nobody knew when he came, when he left. And then came this boyish pharaoh, Tutankhamun, living image of Amun, and oversaw a restoration of the old ways. And he tried to re-establish the belief and the traditional custom of Egypt. He reigned for 9 years and then he died mysteriously. Regardless of his fame and speculations about his fate, Tut is one mummy among many in Egypt. How many? No one knows. The Egyptian Mummy Project, which began in inventory in late 2003, has recorded almost 600 mummies so far. In 2003, 600 mummies have already been reported. The city machine donated by National Geographic Society and Siemens. This machine has been donated for this work, for this purpose. This CT scan machine is like 1700 digital x-rays are put together that could give very intricate details of the body. And finally, the body of Tut was undergoing this CT scan. Night of the scan, workmen carried Tut from the tomb in his box. Like pallbearers, they climbed the ramp and flight of stairs. The body was brought in the next day when the thing has to be CT scanned. People of Egypt believed disturbing the mummies like this will finally result in the curse of the pharaoh. The pharaoh, the body, the king may curse, and that was strongly believed. And it was speculated that something untoward will take place. Did any untoward incident take place? We will see what happens. When the body was brought, there was a sandstorm, and the multi-million-dollar machine stopped working as the sand got stuck in one of its fan. Luckily, there was substitute fan which was brought and it worked. People called see the curse of the pharaoh. Finally, the body was CT scanned, and again the body was taken and kept back to its place where it was resting. Back in the trailer, a technician pulled up astonishing images of Tut. The computer screen, the body's images were captured. Zahi Hawass was a relaxed man now, because he believed that how would people react, as when Howard Carter he cut piece the body to do his research, it was resented. People resented it. People were angry. People were not happy with that. And Zahi Hawass now believed if anything happens wrong here, he would be held responsible. Zahi Hawass was so much in tension that he said, I did not sleep last night, not for a second. I was so worried, but now I think I will go and sleep. Finally, he got some relaxation as the work has been done. The body has been CT scanned and the report has been generated. Now the research work could easily be carried on. And as the work stopped, the storm, the wind also stopped. Finally, the body had been taken back in the Death Valley of Kings. And there, the Orion, the constellation Orion, was seen just over the body, as if the god of afterlife. It is believed in Egypt, the Orion constellation belongs to the god of afterlife, watching over the boy king, keeping a keen interest in the boy king. And that's how we come to the end of the chapter. Please do read the chapter carefully for better understanding, and we shall meet in the next video with a new thing, with a new chapter, with a new poem maybe. See you again in the next video. Thank you very much.